Hi, Sam and I are here today to share our presentation on an extraordinary life. And although I'm very proud of Sam and the progress that he's made over the last 21 years, the reason we like to share Sam's story is that we believe by sharing the information that was shared with us 16 years ago about person-centered planning and thinking about people with disabilities having ordinary lives instead of special lives, that other folks can accomplish and be exposed to and enjoy a lot of the things that Sam has been able to enjoy since he was a little boy. So Sam and I are going to present together. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the early years with Sam and a little bit about person-centered planning. And then Sam will share some information about his high school years. And then we are going to share one of the tools that we used in implementing person-centered planning with Sam. So Sam, if I get anything wrong or if you need to add anything, will you jump in and tell me?
Yeah.
Okay. About the first 5 years of Sam's life, we spent just getting through the next 24 hours. Life was very challenging. When Sam was 4 years old, we finally found out that he had an autism spectrum disorder. When Sam was 5, he didn't use much language. He used 1 or 2 word phrases to get his needs met, juice or potty. Mostly Sam communicated with us through his behavior, and we had lots of meltdowns. It was hard to go places in public with Sam because of his inability to communicate, and he used behavior to communicate with us. Sam wandered a lot. I couldn't take a shower. Someone always had to have their eye on Sam, or he would wander out the front door or up the wall or into a swimming pool. And he had a very short attention span. He had lots of sensory challenges. He liked to spin in chairs. He didn't like to use his hands much for activities. His fine motor skills were pretty poor. He had a difficult time feeding himself. Sam slept about 4 hours a night, which made life interesting for our family. He quit taking naps when he was about 1, and he perseverated on things like string. He liked to line up cars and trains and knock them off and pick them back up and line them up all over again. Do you remember that, Sam?
Yeah, I
do you remember when you used to do things like that?
Yes.
One thing that happened when Sam was 5 is that I went through a program called Partners in Policymaking, and it's a year-long program sponsored by the Virginia Board for People with Disabilities. And I think the one thing that I learned going through that program that had the most impact on my life, our family, and Sam was when I learned about person-centered planning from Ann Malachi, who at the time was at the Partnership for People with Disabilities. And I learned that parents of children with disabilities and adults with disabilities can have dreams and can do ordinary things, and that you don't have to be segregated. You can be with community, you can work, you can live in the community, and that was a new concept for me. Sam had, up to that point, since he was 2 years old, he had been in segregated special education classrooms. Like I said, we didn't take him many places because his behavior was difficult. He didn't speak, and I just couldn't imagine this little boy having the life that was described to me, that was possible through person-centered planning and person-centered thinking. So I went back to Sam's elementary school that spring because I learned all these wonderful things about person-centered planning and dreaming. And I shared with Sam's IEP team my dreams for him. And I said that I wanted Sam to have friends and be with typical peers, and I wanted him to learn how to read, and I wanted him to learn how to do math. And the school administrator who was there and let me know that she'd been in education for 20 years, and that a great part of that time she'd specialized and been a specialist in special education. She told me that she'd seen kids like Sam before. And she told me that Sam would never, ever know his letters, so I could forget about him ever reading. And she told me that he wouldn't know his numbers or how to do math. And she said that if Sam was with typical kids for 15 minutes, it would traumatize those kids. And it would traumatize all the kids, and it would also traumatize Sam. And needless to say, I left there crushed because she was the professional, and she'd been doing this for 20 years, and she knew kids like Sam. She'd seen kids like Sam come through her school, and she knew what the outcomes were. So I thought, well, was all that stuff they told me just a bunch of bunk? Was it really true? Could it really happen for Sam? Or was I being led down a path of expectations that I shouldn't be? So I'd like to share with you just real briefly what person-centered planning is. And I like these pictures because it kind of encapsulates a lot of what person-centered planning is. The picture at the top, you'll see people huddled together. And person-centered planning is about people coming around a person with a disability, a child or an adult, and planning and figuring out and listening to that person and that person's family, and helping the family and that person accomplish the dreams that they have for their child or that adult has for themselves. The picture with the folks lifting up the other person, to me, represents the support that comes from the community. It takes a village. One person can't do it alone. I couldn't do it by myself. It took lots of people, and it took building community around Sam for us to accomplish, and for Sam to accomplish many of the dreams that he had. And then the picture that shows the dreams, that really to me is what it's all about. If you don't start with a dream, if you don't start with a North Star, if you don't shoot for that, then you'll never know what the possibilities are. And to be quite honest with you, some of the things that Sam has accomplished were things way beyond my dreams. I dreamed that Sam would have community and friends, but it went far beyond that. And I don't think it's because, well, I think my boy is awfully special, but I think everyone's special. I think it's because Sam was afforded opportunities that a lot of people with disabilities aren't afforded. As a little boy, he was afforded opportunities, and as a young man, he's been afforded opportunities, and he's been put into places where he could show what his interests and talents are. And he seized those opportunities, didn't you, Sam?
Yeah.
And you showed us. So I've kind of gone over this. You look at an individual in a different way than you're used to looking at them, or that we've been used to looking at people with disabilities in the past. You look at providing them with more control over their lives and increasing opportunities in the community, recognizing their desires, interests, and strengths, and what their dreams are, and working together to accomplish that. John O'Brien and Herb Lovett were pioneers in person-centered planning and person-centered thinking, and they said the person at the focus of planning and those who love the person are the primary authorities on the person's life direction. And this was, you know, a totally different concept for me as a young parent of a young child, surrounded by, you know, specialist doctors and teachers and therapists, all whom I thought held the answer. And so realizing that I was an authority on Sam was unique. And I had my doubts when that administrator informed me that I wasn't the authority. But it didn't take me long, and I surrounded myself with folks who could support me in my dream for Sam. So let's just take a minute and look at a traditional approach to a person-centered approach. How we describe people is huge. In a system-centered approach, my experience was that we focused on the labels. Sam was autistic, and that's what we focused on. And we focused on what his deficits were, what he couldn't do, and what he needed. In a person-centered approach, we look at the person first. I went from looking at Sam as a little boy who was autistic, who had lots of needs and deficits, to looking at him as my child first, as a little boy first, who had capacities, had talents, had strengths, and had gifts. And sometimes it was hard to find those. Sometimes I really had to search to find what those were and to help Sam find what those were. But part of finding that was exposing you to lots of different experiences. So let's look at a couple of kids here, Charlie and Rob. Charlie is nonverbal, he's autistic, he's non-compliant, he can't read, and he perseverates. Rob, on the other hand, is a kid who uses sign, he loves anything to do with trains, he likes watching videos, and he sticks to a problem until he solves it. And I always ask folks, if you're a teacher, which of these kids are you going to feel more comfortable having in your classroom? If you're a scout leader, are you going to be more comfortable with Rob or with Charlie? If you're a Sunday school teacher, are you going to welcome Rob into your class with more confidence or Charlie? And the fact is that these descriptions are the same child, and they were my child. And so how we describe people and how we introduce people to the community matters. How do we think about the future in a system-centered approach is planning for a lifetime of programs. What are the special programs for people with autism? And what are the special programs if you're a child with autism? What are the special programs if you're an adult with autism? We don't think that way anymore, do we, Sam?
No.
No. Now we think about Sam's quality of life, and we focus on what Sam, as a young man, dreams, what he wants, what he desires, and what experiences he seeks out. And it has nothing to do with programs. Who's in control and who makes decisions? In a system-centered approach, the professionals, like I said, the professionals are in charge. And in a person-centered approach, decisions are shared by the family, by the team, and by the person at the center of the decision-making. I think this is one of the most important concepts and differences between system-centered and person-centered planning. In system-centered planning, we often neglect community. We don't think about often when children are young about friendship, about being part of a school community, about being part of a church community, about being part of the neighborhood community. We congregate people with labels, whether they're children or adults, and we protect them. In a person-centered approach, we promote community and we negotiate acceptance by negotiating relationships. And I have to tell you, this was one of the scariest parts. One of the scariest things for me as a parent was being brave enough to risk Sam being around typical kids, because I'd heard so many stories about bullying. And Sam was included from kindergarten on, and every year at the IEP meeting, I would be told by teachers and professionals, well, the kids accepted him this year, but it gets harder in third grade. And then at the end of third grade, they'd say, well, they accepted him in third grade, but in fourth grade, it's going to be really hard because kids start to really see differences. That didn't happen, did it, Sam?
No.
You weren't ever bullied in school?
Never.
Never? Mm-mm.
No way.
Kids love Sam, and I don't think we give kids enough credit. I think it's important to start early. Because as Sam transitioned from elementary school to middle school and middle school to high school, and he was introduced, he would go into a larger group of kids that included his community but new kids. The kids in his old community looked after Sam. I can't tell you how many times I saw kids say, hey, that's Sam, he's my friend. And they made it clear to kids who were new to Sam that Sam was part of their community. So I don't think we give kids enough credit. quote, "The future's not something we enter, the future is something we create. And creating that future requires us to make choices and decisions that all begin with a dream." None of this has been easy. Sam's journey has not necessarily been an easy journey. When Sam was a little boy, I was always constantly planning, making decisions, trying to figure out what was the best path. Do we go this way? Do we go that way? For me, I'm a pretty shy person, and it was hard asking for help. And you can't do this by yourself. You have to ask the community for help. You have to expose yourself and make yourself vulnerable, and make your family vulnerable, and your child to some extent. But you can't just dream it. You have to take action as well. So what were our dreams for Sam? I had heard a friend talk about what she wanted for her son who had Down syndrome was an ordinary life, Eileen Hammer. And I'd never heard that before, an ordinary life. But it makes sense because what we're so used to as parents of children with special needs is thinking that everything that our children are exposed to has to be special. Special therapy, special education, special recreation. And Eileen said, no, I just want ordinary. And actually, for families of kids with special needs, ordinary is extraordinary because we're not used to having an ordinary life. So what did my husband and I want for Sam? When you were a little boy, Sam, we wanted you to have friends. We wanted you to be able to read because you really expressed an interest in reading. You loved looking at books.
Yeah, and sports pages.
And sports pages. And ultimately, even when Sam was a little boy, we hoped that he would, and we dreamed that he would have a job and live in his own home someday and have his own community, have his own church, have a place that he could go have a cup of coffee or drink a beer.
What?
Yep. As a
You're
young,
joking, right, Mom?
no, I'm not joking. As a young man. So that was the ordinary life that we dreamed for Sam. Marcia Forrest said that we create our tomorrows by what we dream today. And I know I'm drilling this into the ground about dreaming, but dreaming is so important. Dreaming is what motivated me, what kept me going, what encouraged me, and took us way beyond what we actually did dream for Sam. So where did our dreams of an ordinary life for Sam take Sam? Remember this slide? We were told by the principal, the expert, that Sam will never, ever know his letters or be able to read, or know his numbers or be able to do math, or be with his typical peers. That it would be harmful to Sam and harmful to his peers. So Sam, are you ready?
Yeah.
Do you think they're ready?
I
You
don't
think
know.
they're ready to hear your
guys,
story?
Are you guys ready?
All right, so
Cool.
here we go.
Okay. That's me reading the sports page.
Oh yeah? Well, wait a minute. I thought you couldn't read.
Right. They were wrong.
They were wrong.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
What's that?
The sports page.
Sam loves sports, and he loves to read sports, and he does not leave the house in the morning without the sports page, right?
Right. Never will.
Never will. Yep. If
Never do, never will. Forever. Not for cadet.
So, Sam, let's talk about what your life at high school was. And I have to tell you that from the time Sam was a very early age, I was repeatedly told by educators that inclusion in school at some point was going to go down the tubes because Sam would not be accepted by his peers. So, shall we show him how that worked out, Sam?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's show them.
Whoa. Tell me about that picture.
That's me.
Yeah?
in OTC uniform,
What are you doing?
marching in the homecoming parade.
Yep, you're marching in the homecoming parade. And one of the things that you really liked about ROTC, Sam, I think, was that there was a lot of rules and structure.
Yeah, there is
Yeah.
a bunch of them.
And as a person on the spectrum, that kind of spoke to one of your strengths, that you really liked to know what the rules were and the structure. And I remember your commander saying, you know, that you would help the other kids know what the rules were because you knew them so well. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, wait a minute. What is that?
That's me in the Times Square in New York when I was in different Wildcats drama.
You were in drama?
Yeah.
Really? Where else did you go with the drama class?
On the ship ride.
On a ship ride?
Yeah.
When you were in New York, you went in the harbor?
Yeah, in the harbor. The
So-
most biggest boats ever.
Yeah. So you'll notice that when Sam was in high school, he took a lot of electives. And honestly, it was interesting how open the teachers were to having Sam in their classes. He took drama, and actually drama was good because Sam was good at memorizing script, and it was rote. And so that kind of played to one of your strengths as well, Sam. You were in a play one time, a couple of times, weren't you?
Yeah, it was Chunk.
Cha-chunk. That was, yeah, I remember that.
Chunk.
Whoa, Sam, what are you doing here?
I was dancing with the girls.
Dancing with the girls? Get out of here.
No,
Well, where were you dancing with the girls?
in Tennessee.
Yeah? What class were you there with? What class was it?
Chorus.
Chorus class.
Different chorus.
Uh-huh.
Home of the Wildcats.
Home of the Wildcats. And you were in chorus, I think, every year you were at Deep Run, weren't you?
Yeah, it was.
Sam loved making a joyful noise. You don't have to be the best singer in the world to be in the chorus. And again, it's a lot of memorization. And Sam was a great asset to his chorus. Where else? Now, drama and chorus, y'all went to New York City, you went to Nashville. Where else did you go?
Florida.
You went to Orlando.
Yeah, Orlando.
Where else? Didn't you go to Atlanta one year?
Yeah, but I wasn't in that
Oh, you weren't in that one? You didn't go to that one?
one.
And Sam did need supports to go on these trips, but he did go and he did participate, as you can see. What's that, Sam?
That's me. And the chorus class.
And were you performing in the competition?
Yeah, against the chorus all over the world,
Yeah.
from one side to another side.
Wow. Sam, one of the things that we learned pretty early on in middle and high school was that Sam had a pretty keen interest in sports. And so we thought, how can we get Sam involved in sports? And I think, didn't you run track in middle school, right, Sam?
Yeah, I did.
And we tried some track in high school. And we thought, well, what if Sam could manage a sports team? Maybe that would be a good opportunity or a good thing to try, because that's a great place for Sam to develop another community outside of, well, you already had community because the chorus kids and the drama kids and the ROTC guys, right?
Yeah.
And we thought, well, why not sports? Because that's what he really loves, and maybe that will develop some job skills as well if he can manage a team. So we supported Sam, and the school supported Sam in asking the soccer coach if he could manage the soccer team. And I think the soccer coach was a little bit reluctant at first, but he said, yeah, we'll give it a try, we'll see. And so Sam managed the soccer team, and the second year that Sam managed the soccer team, they got into the playoffs. And the first game of the playoffs, which was local, I was sitting watching, and I saw the coach call Sam over from the bench, and I saw Sam starting to put knee guards on, and he was taking his sweats off, and he had his shorts on underneath. And the score was 12-0, and we were winning. And all the kids around me who were JV players started pulling their phones out and calling their friends and saying, Coach is getting ready to put Sam into the game. And with that, Sam got to his 15 seconds of fame playing soccer for the Deep Run soccer team, didn't you, Sam?
Yeah, and here is.
Yep. The entire time that Sam was at Deep Run, you managed the soccer team, didn't you, Sam?
Yeah.
So, in 2008, what happened?
We won the state championship.
Whose hand is that?
That's me.
What's on it?
A championship ring.
A championship ring. There was a ceremony the fall after they won the state championship where they called all the boys who had been part of that team onto the field at a football game and gave them their state rings. And they included Sam in that, and they gave him a state ring. And as I was sitting there watching, I thought to myself how blessed we'd been for Sam to be part of this community of boys. And then I started thinking, and I thought how blessed the boys were, because someday those boys are going to be employers, or they're going to be college professors, or they're going to be teachers, or they're going to be daddies.
Yeah.
And somebody with autism is going to come into their life, or somebody with a disability, and they're going to go, you know what, I knew that Sam Hulcher, and I know how much he contributed to my experience as a soccer player. And so I think when we bring our kids into community and into the world, it not only enriches their life, but it enriches the lives of those around them.
Yeah. And it wasn't me, guys. It was Brian Omby who scored that last goal.
Who scored the last goal in that clip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we were playing against, we were playing against Robinson Rams.
Uh-huh.
And we beat them 1-0.
Right, in the final game, yeah. So did y'all go back to state finals, Sam, in 2011?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But we were this close
Yep.
to win another one.
Yep, you got right up to the last game, didn't you? And this is Sam hanging out with some of his buddies between games.
Yeah.
Some of the players. And Sam, when you were a senior, and they had the senior ceremony for soccer players, were you part of that?
Yeah, I was in it.
Yeah? What'd they give you?
A jersey.
A jersey.
Number 99.
Yep.
The big, strong 99.
And you managed football too, didn't you, Sam?
Yes.
Yep. After this experience, in the middle of the years that Sam was managing soccer, we thought, well, he's got soccer down. Let's check out and see if the football coach needs a manager. Sam went with a staff person from the school to explore that possibility, and from what I hear, the football coach was kind of thrilled that Sam was interested in helping to manage the football team. Is that right, Sam?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, these are my guys.
Yep, those are some of your guys for graduation, right?
Yeah,
And this was one of my dreams. I don't know if it was one of yours. But you got to go to the prom, didn't you?
yeah,
With a real pretty girl.
yeah. Her name is Angel
Uh-huh.
Raglan.
And Sam, did y'all go to the after party?
Yeah. We went to a place that is like across the parking dock, and we went on the bottom of that.
Uh-huh. And you closed the place down, didn't you? Because I remember picking you up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was the only one there. Only one with my friends. Two, you guys.
So Sam was real involved in the life of his school, but he was also real involved in community outside of school. Want to tell them about this picture, Sam?
Yeah, that's me having a garage party,
And what do you love to do?
sing and dancing.
Singing and dancing. You love karaoke, right?
Yeah,
Everybody else has a beer in their hand, but Sam has a microphone in his hand,
yeah,
just to make that clear.
yeah. So much for those guys. They have to drink beer, but I don't.
Yeah. And in that picture is Sam's brother, Clay, who's been an ambassador in the community for Sam. It's always good if you can have someone who is an ambassador for you, whether you have a disability or not. And Clay's motto has always been, if somebody's not into Sam, then they're not into him. If they're not Sam's friend, they're not Clay's friend, are they, Sam?
Nope, but they are now.
Yeah? Ooh, who's that pretty girl?
That's me and Patty
Uh-huh.
with a Washington Redskins sweatshirt on.
Uh-huh. And who is Patty?
Well, my sister-in-law.
Your sister-in-law.
Okay, that's us going for the Washington Redskins game
Mm-hmm.
against the New York Giants.
You took that road trip, huh?
Yeah. That's me at my old church, which is, I don't go there no more.
You go to another church now, right?
Yeah,
Which is a natural part of growing up, Sam. A lot of people, once they become adults, they go to a different church from their parents.
yeah,
But Sam was a crucifer at our church, and I think it's really important for everyone, but particularly people with disabilities, to be seen as folks who contribute to the community. And we were always conscious of that and looked for opportunities for Sam to contribute to his community. So he contributed at Deep Run in so many ways, including managing his team. And at church, he contributed as a crucifer. And you also went on some mission trips with the church, didn't you, Sam?
yes.
Where'd you go?
One year we went to West Virginia, and the other year we went to the mountains.
You went to Chicago one year, didn't you?
Yeah, Chicago,
Uh-huh.
Chicago.
And you did mission work.
Yeah, to help those homeless people.
Yeah. Tell me about this picture, Sammy.
Okay, this is Abe
Uh-huh.
and myself running in a 5K.
Yep. Well, how did you know Abe?
Where I went to church with him.
He's a friend from church?
Yeah, my old church.
Yep.
Okay, that's me working at the food bank and SPCA.
From the time you were in middle school, Sam, you started volunteering at places in the community in the summertime. And it was a good experience to be exposed to different opportunities in the community, to meet new people, and also to learn things that you liked and you didn't like, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. What's this picture?
This is me with the big boys.
With the big boys. So when Sam was at Deep Run High School, we started doing some job exploration, and Sam got to do an internship for spring football practice with University of Richmond, and then the following fall he worked at every game as an intern.
Yeah, on the sidelines.
On the sidelines, and it was something I would have never dreamed, but it was a dream come true, wasn't it, Sam?
Oh yeah. We will show you guys a film later.
Okay, and here's the film that we're going to show them.
The Richmond Spiders' biggest football fan is also one of the hardest working. His name is Sam Hulcher, an autistic high school student from Deep Run High School who works as one of the Spiders' managers in the afternoons. For the players, Sam is much more than just another assistant on the sidelines.
That's cool.
I mean, Sam, he's just been a great inspiration to this team. When he got here, you know, he had a smile on his face. He's really excited to be here, and he's one of our biggest fans. And I tell you what, at practice, he's probably got more energy some days than a lot of our players.
You guys are doing so good out there so far. Let's keep it up.
He's always so happy, so energetic, and you know that just brightens up your day. You know, when you're down and you see somebody like Sam who's always just so happy and so into life, you know, you just can't help but be happy yourself.
What's up, Sam?
Nice much.
And that's something to feed off of, because he's a great inspiration to us, and he's, you know, become some of our friends. And like I said, he's out here working hard every single day. He doesn't just show up in practice and stand around. He's doing work. He's helping the managers out, and I think that's very admirable of him.
It's pretty nice to be here.
I mean, when Sam comes out here, I mean, Sam's our lifeblood. I mean, you know, things can be going, you know, messy, and you see Sam, and you know, you're thankful for your situation. But when you see Sam, he's got a smile on his face, and he'll walk up and say, "Hey, coach, don't worry about it. Just take a drink of water, and everything will be better." And that's kind of how he lives his life, and we appreciate him.
Okay, now tell me about this one.
Okay, that's me at Children's Arms of St. Mary's Hospital.
Oh, what department were you doing an internship in?
Where I was doing cleaning, stocking, and room turnover.
Room turnover. Did you like that job?
Yeah.
This is an opportunity that Sam has had in his final year of school through a partnership between Henrico County, St. Mary's Hospital, VCU, and DRS to experience an internship at St. Mary's, and you go through 3 different internships across the school year, right, Sam?
Yeah.
How do you get there?
Easy. Just go across the street.
How do you get to St. Mary's?
Oh, by bus. By bus.
Okay.
I thought you meant how to get to Children's Arms.
Okay.
But never mind then.
So we're going to talk real quickly. There are several different person-centered planning tools that can be used. Personal profiles, student-directed IEPs, maps, and PATH. And actually, the one tool that we used consistently from the time that Sam was a little boy was a personal profile. And you have a copy of this that you can get off the website, a blank copy. But we're just going to kind of go through Sam's that was done in early high school so you can get an idea of what a personal profile might look like. And I will tell you how we used Sam's personal profiles every year. We would send this form to anybody that knew Sam, might be school teachers, therapists, might be a neighbor, might be another kid that knew Sam, might be his brother, his dad and I, and ask people to fill out this personal profile. And then either I would get all of the profiles back or a teacher would get them all back, and we would compile them into one profile. And so the profile that we're going to show you that is Sam's personal profile is a compilation of about 13 different profiles. And what it is it gives you a snapshot of the person. And it gives you a way to recognize the interests, gifts, and talents of the person, but also to talk about what their needs and their challenges are. So let's just real quickly go through Sam's personal profile to let you see what it might look like. And also I will tell you what we did with it before we do that. So what we would do with a profile, and the way that I think they can be most helpful, is once you have that profile that's a compilation, I would give it a copy of it to anybody that didn't know Sam. So if he was going to have a new teacher, I would give a copy of it to them and with his picture attached. If he was moving from elementary to middle or middle to high school, I would give all of the teachers a copy of the personal profile based on the knowledge of people who loved and cared about Sam. If he was starting a scout troop, or if he was starting a new Sunday school class, that's another way that a personal profile can be used. It's just a different way to introduce someone to a person that may be working with them, supporting them, teaching them.
Don't forget college, Mom.
And college too, yeah. A personal profile can be used that way too. So the first question you ask is, who is this person? Who is Sam? And people said that Sam was a son, a brother, a cousin, a grandson, a nephew, and a friend. Somebody called him a social butterfly. He was a deep run wildcat. He was a river rat, a music lover. His brother said he was a true, loyal fan to the Deep Run Wildcats, the Washington Redskins, the Virginia Tech Hokies, the Richmond Braves, the Chicago Cubs, his church, and his family. So that's an idea about the kind of thing that you're looking for, is who is this person? Then the next question is, what are the person's strengths? And for Sam's strengths, people listed that he wasn't afraid to approach people, he had a strong work ethic, he responds well to positive and constructive feedback. He was compassionate, polite. The next question is, what are the person's successes? And here you would list any success, no matter how large or small. And for people who are watching this who have elementary or preschool children, it can be something as simple as the first time they drank out of a sippy cup by themselves, or the first time they used a fork by themselves. That could be a success. First time they said mama, the first time they got into the bathtub without having a meltdown, or going to the grocery store without having a meltdown. Those are huge successes. So for Sam's successes, he was a team manager, he'd been in Key Club. He was voted the most spirited dancer at the dance marathon. Sam brought his trophy with him. There's a dance marathon at his high school, and he was voted by his peers to be the most spirited dancer at the high school. Sam, put it where they can see it, your trophy. That's a big sucker. It's a 27-hour dance marathon, and Sam did the whole thing. So these were some of Sam's successes. Then the next question is, so you're talking about all the good, great things about the person, but we want to acknowledge what are some of the person's challenges. Person-centered planning doesn't mean that you don't talk about those things or you ignore those things. Those things are important to acknowledge so that we can support the person and help them. And so we listed some of the things that were difficult for Sam. The next question is, okay, so those are the challenges. What supports does the person need? And we listed here some of the supports that Sam needed. Wait time for processing, natural supports, independent living skills, supports around transportation. And then finally, what are your dreams for the person? And one of my dreams was that Sam go to the prom. I'd like him to have a girlfriend. Someday I'd like him to have a wife. I'm not sure that's one of his dreams.
What?
I'm embarrassing you.
I'm a mom.
To travel, to play a musical instrument. Hey, but wait. There's a saying in person-centered planning, nothing about me without me. So you have another form, and it's really the most important form, really is, which is a form for the person to fill out about themselves. And your little guy may not be able to do this, and so you may have to rely pretty much on a personal profile that other folks do, their knowledge of the child. But once your child begins to get into elementary school and older, you really should get their input into what they think their successes are, who they think they are, what they think is important. You may think, well, my child is nonverbal, or the adult that I work with is nonverbal. I guarantee you can get that information from them. It's amazing how many times people with disabilities have never been asked, sadly. So Sam, I said, who are you? What are some of the things that you answered?
I am an intern at St. Mary's Hospital, a volunteer at SPCA, and a food bank, or in food bank, a D1 graduate, and a Washington Redskins fan.
So that's how you see yourself, right? When somebody says, who are you?
Oh yeah.
What did you think some of your strengths were, Sam?
Good worker at St. Mary's. A good friend, and well, a very friendly a good fisherman.
Yeah. So, and you said some of your successes were managing the soccer team and the football team, playing basketball, and learning to kayak, right?
Yeah.
And you said you only identified one thing as your most challenging thing. What was that?
Minding my own business.
Yeah. That gets you in trouble sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're just so interested in people, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
And sometimes you worry about things that aren't your business.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But you're working on that, right? Because
Yeah.
we asked you what your support needs were, and what did you say? Miss Lee Meades is doing what?
A teacher.
Yeah, and what is she teaching you?
Well, she's teaching me how to stay calm.
How to stay calm. And other things that you said were it was important for you to know what the rules were and have a list, right?
Yes.
And then lastly, we asked you what your dreams were, and what did you say?
Be on a basketball team.
Yeah. What else?
Have a good job.
Yeah.
Get paid. Go to another Redskins game. And visit Mount Vernon.
Visit Mount Vernon. So the message that Sam and I have for you is live your dream. People who say it cannot be done should not interrupt those of us who are doing it. Right, Sam?
Right.
We have some resources on the following pages for you that we hope you find helpful.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for letting us share our story with you.
I'd like to thank our presenters today, and we'd like to thank you for joining us. And now we look forward to getting your questions in the chat room. As always, we will archive today's webcast and send you an email with the link to the archive tomorrow. Our next webcast is on May 8th. The topic is Applied Behavior Analysis. Our presenter will be Dawn Hendricks. We hope you can join us. Thanks again.